We're at 2166.
Mr. Chair and members, Molly Graver, the finance analyst. Mr. Chair and members, beginning January 1st, 2023, HB 2166 exempts the sale of firearms, ammunition, and firearm safety equipment from transaction privilege tax and use tax. Mr. Chair, there is one amendment I'd be happy to explain.
Yes, please.
Mr. Chair, the four-line amendment in your name dated March 24th, 2022, at 9:06 a.m. narrows the scope of the exemption to retail resales of firearms, ammunition, and firearm safety equipment. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Ms. Udall, are you here?
Yes, Representative
yes,
Udall.
there you go. Mr.
Steve Kaiser, LD15. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee, for hearing this bill. We heard it in an earlier committee and talked to members and amended it, but it's essentially no sales tax on used firearms, safety equipment, and ammunition in retail stores. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Members, we have a lot of speakers on this bill, so there's one signed in against. We will take that. And then we need two speakers, and you need to know, let us know who that is on the for side. Speaking against the position is, I had it and I lost it, Kelly Roston. Kelly, are you here? All right. Who are the two people that would like to speak in favor? I have one, and I saw Dave Cobb someplace. Dave, right behind. Dave, you want to go first? Welcome to Senate Appropriations. Please introduce yourself. Tell us who you're representing, and you have a minute and a half.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members. I'm Dave Kopp. I represent the Arizona Citizens Defense League. We are here in favor of the bill. You will notice that the chapter that this is amending, the vast majority of existing exemptions are for health equipment, safety equipment, things to preserve life and health and safety. We firmly believe that guns are among those, so we would love to see this pass. We'd love to see it pass unamended, but if the amendment is necessary, we will take what we can get, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cobb, welcome. Those of us on the Finance Committee, this is the third time that we've heard this bill. So I'll be brief. But Mr. Cobb, I think it's your first time testifying, so I'll ask this question of you. What problem are we seeking to solve here? Because as someone who serves on the Finance Committee and the Appropriations Committee, we have a lot of bills dealing with tax credits or TBT exemptions, and usually the argument is this is going to bring more jobs, this is going to bring more investment. For me, it seems the firearm industry is doing pretty well right now, especially since January 2021. So why have a TPT exemption in place? Are there folks that want to buy firearms but are saying, well, if I didn't have to pay a sales tax on it, I would buy it. Otherwise, I won't. Just kind of walk me through why this is necessary other than it just being a tax cut for the sake of a tax cut.
Mr. Chairman, Senator
Cobb.
Bowie, we are a nonpartisan organization, but for myself, I'm an old line conservative, and we firmly believe that a tax cut for the sake of a tax cut is just fine. But with that said, I do believe that this is not geared towards helping the firearms industry per se, but helping the firearms industry customers. Are there people that can't afford a gun just because of the sales tax? I doubt it. But if it becomes a situation where you need to buy a gun or you need to buy groceries, that sales tax could make all the difference. So yeah, I firmly believe that a tax cut for the sake of a tax cut is a good thing.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just the last comment. There's been discussion here and discussion in our previous two Finance Committee hearings about safety products and TBT exemptions. And I'll just point out there's a lot of things that are necessities that do not have TBT exemptions. I know there's been a lot of talk about feminine hygiene products over the years, car seats and vehicles. Those are required, and those do not have a TBT exemption. So I just want to make sure that that's clear in this conversation. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes, Mr. Cobb.
might. Mr. Chairman, Senator Bowie, I'm fine with all of that.
I know.
And again, we get back to, tax cuts are a good thing. And again, for the consumer, as everybody knows, if an industry is charging or having to pay tax, that gets passed on to the consumer. It's always a tax on the consumer in the end. So.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, we had one other speaker. Can I guess that
Thank
your
you.
name is Cheryl? Oh, how did I know? How did I know? Welcome, Cheryl, to Senate Appropriations. Please introduce yourself. Tell us who you're representing. You have a minute and a half.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, Senators. My name is Cheryl Todd. I am a wife, a mom, and a grandma. I am also the Arizona State Director to the DC Project, Women Who Are Dedicated to Safeguarding Our Right to Keep and Bear Arms. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today in support of HB 2166. As the person who is called on to balance my family's budget and stretch my family's dollars as far as possible, a bill like this will go a long way in helping not just my family, but especially lower income families and those hit hardest by our ever-shrinking purchasing power that inflation is having on our dollars. Firearms and related safety equipment are life-saving tools of self-defense, and it is well documented that at least 2.5 million times each year, lives are saved by responsibly armed citizens with these tools, and 200,000 times each year, a woman, like myself, prevents a sexual assault
30
because
seconds,
she
please.
was responsibly armed with these tools, helping people and me, reducing the cost of tools that we use to keep our family safe is the only right thing to do, and this is why I support and ask you to join me in supporting HB 2166. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you.
Ready to go? That's the last of our speakers.
All right. Let's
Mr.
move
Chairman,
on.
I move that House Bill 2166 be returned with a due pass recommendation. Mr. Chairman, I move the Livingston four-line amendment dated March 24th, 2022 at 9:06 a.m. be adopted.
All right, members, you heard that motion. Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Please, the ayes have it. You have it. So ordered, Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I move that House Bill 2166 as amended be returned with a due pass recommendation.
All right, members, you heard that motion. Madam Secretary.
Senator Alston?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
for the third time, I vote no.
Yes.
Senator Burley?
Aye.
Senator Bowie?
Mr. Chairman, for the third time, I vote no.
Yes.
Senator Kerr?
Aye.
Senator Livingston?
Mr. Chairman, for the third time, I vote yes.
Yes.
I was waiting for that.
Senator Tondo?
No.
Senator Turon?
Nay.
Senator Townsend?
Aye.
Senator Leach?
Aye.
Senator Gowan?
Aye.
6 ayes, 4 nays, 0 not voting.
Members, 6 ayes, 4 nays, and 0 not voting. You've given House Bill 2166 as amended due pass recommendation. Okay. All right, members. Moving along, 2658.